Bounce.
Well, hello there, gang. Welcome to the 30s. Good to have you here. It's good to have you join us on this. What is it? I think it's the 20th. Anyhow, it is great to have you. Thank you for joining me on today. We are trying to get some things right here. Hopefully, we'll get everything situated and ready to go. But I want to welcome you. This is episode 206. Thank you for being here. I am thrilled that you can join me on this special day for what I call my LTVs. LTVs. That's long-term viewers. Thank you certainly for checking in with us again. If this is your very first time, I greatly appreciate you for giving us a look. The 30 is a weekly broadcast where we try to provide, where we provide relevant information and insight to help you enhance your personal, professional, and spiritual lives. Of course, it's a production of the Jackman Group LLC, which is a learning and development firm focused on leadership development and team enhancement through our training, coaching, and strategic planning programs. Well, episode 206, today we are going to be talking specifically about trust. We're going to be talking about trust as it relates to how do we help you to build a successful team. Trust is the cornerstone of every successful team, whether it's a work team, whether it's a family team. It is certainly the way to go forward. So I'm going to take some time. Maybe we'll do a part 2 of this, but today is definitely the part 1 where we're focusing on some of the things. First, the definition of trust. I'm also going to give you some leadership tips as it relates to how can you incorporate trust or enhance trust within your work team. So if you have any comments, questions, make sure that you drop them in the chat. I want to hear from you today. If you're watching us from YouTube, make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so that when we go live, that you will be there, that you will be notified. If you're watching us from any other platforms, if you're watching us from LinkedIn, make sure you like and repost. And you can also share from YouTube, or if you're going to be watching it on Facebook, make sure that you like and share this broadcast. So let's get to it, right? Let's talk about the word trust. So if we look at the definition of the word trust is defined as a firm belief in reliability, truth, ability, or the strength of someone or something. I'll say that again. It is defined as a firm belief in the reliability, the truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. So that's the basic definition if we're looking at the word trust. As we look at it from a workplace perspective, I'm going to give you a more in-depth definition or understanding of the word trust. It is viewed as when employees are willing to rely on their colleagues, their managers, and their leaders. It can also mean that people feel comfortable when trust is exhibited. It means that people feel comfortable in sharing their ideas, thoughts, personalities without fear of judgment. So basically, if we look at trust, I call trust the cornerstone or the glue that holds teams together. Teams without trust and the absence of trust are not going anywhere. Or if they go somewhere, what they're doing is actually limiting their overall success. So I look at trust as I said, a cornerstone or the glue that hold teams together and propels them to do extraordinary things, to achieve extraordinary results. Trust is the foundation. If you study any successful team, if you look at any team, whether it's a work team or it's a home team, a sports team, whatever it is, but we're looking at it now from a work perspective. Trust is the foundation of any successful work team, especially if we look at it from today's fast-paced environment. Now, I love this book, and we do a lot with it in our own training and coaching. And it talks about trust, and it's the 5 dysfunctions of a team. If you want a really great book to read, look at that book. Take a read on that book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And one of the things that the author said in terms of the main dysfunction, number one dysfunction of any team, is the absence of trust. So trust really, as I said, is the glue or the foundation. If you're looking to build any team, and I've seen successful teams and I've seen not so successful teams. If you are a leader, if you're a manager, and you are someone that are a supervisor that's leading a team, you want to make sure that you incorporate trust. Because whenever there's trust, whenever trust is missing, or whenever there's an absence of trust, in essence, what you're doing is limiting the success of the team. So you're saying, okay, I want to make sure that my team is successful, but I'm realizing that teammates don't trust each other. Or better yet, I'm realizing that I, as the leader or the manager or the supervisor, don't trust my team. And I've seen that. I've seen that happen. I've seen that firsthand, where there's been an absence of trust, where people don't trust each other. They have an eye out for each other. So they're limiting the overall success of themselves, but more importantly, they're limiting the success of the team. So today, what I want to do is really talk about how can we enhance trust in our work teams. So now we understand or have the definition of what trust is. We know from the 5 dysfunctions of a team where the author says that the absence of trust, right, is the number one dysfunction when we look at the success of a team. But what I want to do is to really set a foundation. I want to talk about how can we enhance trust within our teams. I'm going to give you some tips, a roadmap as to how to do that. And at the end of the program, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to drop our telephone number and our email address where you can contact us, the Jackman Group. And if you are struggling with trust in your teams, or the lack of trust or the absence of trust within your team, if you are a leader and you're realizing that this monster has risen its head in your teams, you need to contact us. You really need to reach out to us and says, hey, Jackman Group, Patrick, how can you help us? Because that's what we want to do. That's what we do. We go into teams and we help teams to enhance their effectiveness, enhance the efficiency, We also help you, the leader, you, the manager. So, what are some of the tips? What are some of the tips? And we posted this on our socials on yesterday. Nope, I think it was yesterday or day before, but this week we actually posted it, and I want to talk about it because posting is one thing, having a discussion is another, right? So, if you have any comments or questions that you want to ask me or you want to discuss as we go through this, drop it in the chat. I'll be happy to engage with you. So, here are some things. Number one, and the funny thing is, this number one, uh, I had a conversation with my wife yesterday about this. We were talking about how can we enhance the 30, how can we enhance her show, and she does a great job on her show. But the number one step, the number one tip that I'm going to give you is, as a leader, you need to exhibit greater transparency. You need to be more transparent, right? You need to let your team know that you don't have it all together. You're not the perfect one. You fail, you fall short, and it's okay. As we talked about, failure is inevitable. And failure is an event. Zig Ziglar said, failure is an event, it's not a person. So you need to be transparent with your team. They need to see the real you. They don't need to see the imposter. They don't need to see the representative. They need to see you. You need to, as a leader, you need to set the example. You need to set the environment where trust starts to take place. You need to move forward and show that, hey, yeah, I am not perfect. I struggle in many areas. I fall short with as far as the leadership. You probably wouldn't have liked me when I was first starting out my career as a leader, as a manager. I made some mistakes. I'm telling you, I look back at them now and I says, wow, what a bonehead person I was. I made some mistakes with teams. I made some mistakes where I was accused of all types of things, unfairness, right? So I made some mistakes around those areas. I made some mistakes in not being fully transparent. Try to be the perfect person and realizing that the perfect manager and the perfect leader does not exist. So we have some shortcomings when it comes to leadership, when it comes to being a manager or supervisor. There are some shortcomings. And really, you need to start to identify and ask your team, how do you see some of my strengths? And what are some of my areas of opportunity? What do I need to work on? So it's okay to get feedback from your team. It's okay to let them know that, hey, I don't know everything. Revelation, right? We don't know everything. I am not perfect. I haven't written a book on leadership success, but I have read some chapters. I have gone through some situations. I have learned through my mistakes of being a leader. And here are some of them. It's okay to be transparent. No one is going to think less of you if you're transparent. Actually, your teammate think more of you if you demonstrate transparency. Because now they're going to see the real person. They're going to see the authentic person. So you don't need to pretend that you're someone that you're not. I've seen it too many times where leaders pretend that there are someone else, and when they're not. It's okay to be you. It's okay to say, I don't know, but let me find out. It's okay to say, I don't have all the answers, but I can find out and I can get back with you. It's okay to do that. So be transparent. Tip number 2, lead by example. If you want others to trust in your team, if you want to demonstrate trust, if you want your team members to trust each other, guess what? You have to demonstrate that by trusting your team. You have to demonstrate that by trusting even those that don't like you, those that might have talked behind your back, those you have issues with. You got to lead by example. You have to trust. I know, Patrick. Trust is earned. Absolutely. Right. I hear that. Trust is earned. But you have to lead by example. You have to trust others if you want to be trusted. So if you don't trust others, how do you expect your team to trust you and trust others on the team? So you have to lead by example. I talk a lot about the importance of delegation, the importance of empowerment, right? So, yes, delegation is key as a leader, but I don't believe that you can truly delegate without trust and empowerment. So, delegation, where we don't take on everything or desire to take on everything because we want to make sure that we what develop others. The key role of a leader is to develop others for greater in skill and ability. It's about development of your team. So development of your team means that you have to trust them, right? You have to trust them. You have to believe in them. Show that you believe in them, show that you trust them. Then you empower them and delegate work to them. Don't try to take everything on by yourself. I see that so many times in leadership where leaders want to take on everything. No, you got to delegate. You have to learn to delegate. Build your team. Trust your team. Empower your team. Develop your team and delegate to them and trust that they will get the job done. Will they do it like you? Absolutely not, because there's only one you. Will they get the work done? Most likely, because if you train and develop them, most certainly they will get the job done, but not like you. But you have to trust them. So trust, number 2 tip is lead by example. Number 3, here's number 3. And again, this is on our posting, is that you have to learn to listen. Actively listen to what your team members are saying. And we don't hear, we listen. There's a difference between hearing and listening. We have 2 ears, yes, so we can hear, but we listen actively. And when we listen, we're listening to understand. We're not listening to respond. We're not listening to say what's next. We're listening to understand what the person or persons are saying. So we're talking about actionable steps to build and maintain trust within your team. Trust being the cornerstone of any successful team. So listening, whether again, we're looking at it from a work team, but if you look at a home team or sports team, listening becomes a key component of trust. Because if the person doesn't see that or see that you're listening, are they going to trust you? Do they believe that you've heard or listened to what they have to say? Right? As a leader, I'm looking at it from a leadership perspective with your team, or even from teammate to teammate. So listen actively to what the person is saying. Make sure that they feel heard and listened to. And then you can move forward. Because if the person does not feel like if you're hearing them, more importantly, listening to them and understanding what they're saying, and you move on to action by simply just hearing and not understanding, the action that you've taken may be incorrect. So they want to know that you understand through listening actively that you are going to move to action based on what you understood. And if you don't understand it, ask the question. Seek clarity so that you have a firm understanding of what's taking place. The next thing is follow through. How to build trust. One of the key things that can destroy trust within a team is a lack of follow through. You promise to do something and you don't. There's something that we used to say in sales when I was in sales years ago. Under promise and over deliver. Sometimes we tend to over promise and under deliver. But if you under promise and over deliver, right? I'm going to follow through. If you know that you can't follow through on a certain date, don't give the date. If you know that you can't follow through, be honest and let the person know that you can't follow through. Because if you say, I'm going to do it on a certain date and you don't, guess what happens? Now you are doing what? You're limiting that trust. Can that person really trust you? Can that person really trust you as a leader or you as a teammate if you don't follow through on what you committed to do? So you're making a commitment to them on the action item. But if you don't follow through, what does that tell them? Simply tells them that they're not important, that what you are committed to them is not important. So we're talking about, again, about building and maintaining trust. Trust being the cornerstone of any successful team. And I'm giving you these tips because I want to help you as a team member, but more importantly, as a leader of people. So follow through. One of the things that we also posted was, this is what? Tip number 5. Tip number 5 is show empathy. And I can't remember who gave this quote. I think it was Theodore Roosevelt. I think it was him, but it was one of the Roosevelts who said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Let that resonate with you. Process that one. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if they see that you care, you're showing empathy, not sympathy, but empathy. If the person or persons seeing that you are showing empathy and you're understanding and relating to their situation, they now in turn see that they can trust you. Right? That they can trust you. That you show that you've demonstrated that you understand or appreciate where they're coming from, or that you can not fully understand, I should say, that you can relate to their challenges, because sometimes we may not understand where they're coming from, but we can relate to where they're coming from, some of their challenges and some of their successes, challenges, successes, experiences. Here's the last one that I'm going to give you for today. The last tip that I'm going to give you. If someone tells you something within the team, whether it's a teammate or the leader, if someone shares something in confidence with you, you want to cherish that. You don't want to go back and tell another teammate, hey, here's what Rob told me. Here's what Mary told me. You don't want to go back and tell another teammate. If you're a leader, you don't want to go and tell a member of the team, hey, this is what Rob said. We're talking here about building and maintaining trust within your team. So if one of your teammates said something to you in confidence, you want to maintain it in confidence. Of course, if it is something that jeopardizes the well-being of someone else, then you need to share that. Not with your teammate, but you need to share that with your boss or someone else above you. Again, we are talking today about trust being the cornerstone of a successful team. So in summary, let's go over these steps again, and then we'll continue this, I think, maybe next week or the week after. But here are the 5 tips. Be transparent. Lead by example if you are the leader of the team. Listen actively. We listen to understand. We don't listen to hear or respond. We listen to understand. We show empathy, where we relate to the other person's challenge or success. We relate to what they're saying. We're acknowledging and showing emotions, which foster or what helps foster the environment, a supportive environment. We also now follow through. We follow through. If we say that we're going to do something, we commit to doing it. We're going to do it. Follow through. So, folks, that is when we talk about trust being the foundation or the glue that holds teams together, that helps propel teams to extraordinary success. Trust being the foundation of any successful team. And if you don't believe me, do your own research. Research it from your home team, from your sports team. But more importantly, if you are working, if you are in business, whatever team that you have, non-for-profit, profit, ministry team, work team, whatever team it is, these tips and principles apply. So, folks, I want to thank you for being here. Let me look at here who is talk virtual. Erica says, "Hi, Patrick." Alfreda says, "Good evening." Good evening to you both, ladies. Thank you for being part of this broadcast. Again, we will see you next week. Remember, trust is the foundation of a successful team. It is the core that holds everything together. You break that trust, you break the team. Keep trusting, folks. Keep believing in each other. More importantly, move forward. Don't get stuck. Keep moving forward. Don't quit. Don't give up. Until next time, this has been the 30. I'm your host, Patrick. We'll see you next week.